Oh, great. I was the first employee at Zeitgeist, and I'm developer for backend applications with PHP, Typo3, and Neos, and a very little bit JavaScript and front-end, but not really. And now I'm head of IT and responsible for 22 developers, or 23, and yes, everything what belongs to IT for our internal stuff or for our company and customers. Also interesting things are DevOps, research and innovations, and all this I try to bring forward for us. Very short about Zeitgeist. We are nearly 50 employees in 4 cross-functional teams now. From there we are at 23 developers, so we have a very technical focus for a web agency. We have 4 stacks for our technology. These are web applications written in PHP. Typo3 CMS with PHP extensions. The Neos CMS, which is a fork of the Typo3 since 2 years now with a Flow framework, which is aspect-oriented programming. And since this year, we are also doing some shopware with 16 shops now. And that's it. Yes, and you know we are hiring and we would like to get in contact with you. So if you like, please join us. There is our stand. Or send us an email to jobs@zeitgeist.de. I think it's a little bit old school, but email is working every time. So now, what are these beacons? I have, I don't know where, a package. You can order this from, for example, Estimode. There you can buy for $99 a set of 10 of these beacons. And you can experience with it. There are very many manufacturers where you can buy different beacons now. This is only one we decided to experiment with. What is a beacon? A beacon is some kind of plastic like this. This is a little bit bigger one, and it's simply a transmitter who says every some seconds, hello, I'm number 47, I'm number 47, I'm number 47, for example. And you can take your phone, smartphone, Android or iOS, and there you can receive the signal with Bluetooth low energy standard, and then you can call or ask an API if there is especially the beacon you are interested in. It works for some set maximum 50 meters. Estimode says they have some beacons. They can have a distance of maximum 70 meters. It varies depending on the surrounding area, here the building, and so on. The beacon stuff is introduced by Apple in 2013 and was first available in iOS 7. And as Apple introduced it, it was called IBeacons. It's also usable in Android since version 4.3. And Eddystone is an open source alternative from Google and is can be used since 2015. We will try to use an API to detect the distance to a beacon, and it's also possible to get some other data from these beacons, for example, temperature or orientation. And especially Estimode offers beacons called stickers. These are these small ones here, and they recognize if you move them. So you can use these little things to put it, for example, on your notebook, and then your notebook sends the signal, and if someone wants to take it, then it gives the signal, hello, I moved, and you can write your app and give an alarm or what else. So I said this already. What is important to remember is that you can't buy hundreds and thousands of beacons and place them everywhere here in the surrounding and then go around with your smartphone and try to detect them all, because the API is only able to detect the beacons where you already know the UUID that is transmitted by this. This is to protect spamming or what else, a little bit a kind of data security. So what are the goals of our workshop now? I will show you this. And this one will transmit their data, their UUIDs with Bluetooth. And then we will see how to develop a prototype app for iOS only, looking like this, which recognizes this signal. And then you can enter, for example, for this beacon here with the shoe, you can enter an URL in this app and say, every time this beacon is moved, then please call on our point of sale an URL to display on a monitor. And this is the last part. This is, for example, here our web application being a point of sale with a large monitor. And every time this app recognizes the move of the beacon, then the URL on this point of sale changes. I will demonstrate it just now. So then let's try it. This is the application. You can use this if you like. Try it out, the beacon at zeitgeist.de. And if I press run, then it is active. So, hurry. So when we take this here, for example, that was because I moved it a little bit, then the URL is shown with a dog. And I have another one. This is here only representing the default. Then you see a personalized message or something different. You can try to steal this notebook here. Then go this way, and then hopefully we see or we see not. Simple demonstration. Yeah, okay, very funny. Something like this. So, how does it work? What I have to say, it's really only a prototype. I will send you a link for the GitHub repo, but don't use it in production. It is just for looking how this works, this technology. So the first what we want to do is try to create this app. And in this app you can enter a device token, which is given from the web interface, from the web application, so that you can use it for different clients. You can enter a username just for showing the basic personality features, and you can see nothing anymore. And it should list all beacons in the range. And you should see the transmitted data or an extract of this data, what kind of data the beacons sent to you. Yes, and this at last but not least, the URL should be sent to the web application to change the URL on the web application then. So this is the detail view where you can see the list of the beacons which are found, and then you can enter here a URL to be called. You can enter every URL you like. And here, this is the second list where you can see the special data of this beacon, what is transmitted. And for the SC-mode beacons, you see every beacon sends this type. It's a bed, it's shoe, and so on. You see there are some signals or some icons on it, and this type represents this. Then, funny, you can see the temperature, and X, Y, Z coordinates if it is just moving, and if it is in very near distance or far away. And this here is the signal strength, how near it is. Okay, the features of the web application are not so difficult. We would like to have a very simple kiosk mode to show the URL. and an AJAX script that is waiting for the incoming requests from one or more iPhone apps with the appropriate token. Yes, and there's a little basic personality functionality. If you enter your username here, then you can call some URLs with your name and see this then. Okay, what did I use for this prototyping? First, the technique is only JavaScript and HTML, and this is running in a viewer. And the viewer is called EvoThings Viewer. EvoThings is a company developing lots of stuff for Internet of Things. And one thing for being used in the Internet are just these beacons. Later, if you want to use it in production, then you can replace this viewer with your own one and customize it as you like. And the counterpart is the EvoThings Studio. This is a very, very basic integrated development environment. I will show you some screenshots for this, for rapid prototyping. So you can enter some code, click run, and immediately you see in the viewer what changed on your notebook. So you don't have to have any hassle with App Store uploading or something like this. Yeah, for the connection and reading the beacons, the Apache Cordova plugins are used and encapsulated in a JavaScript plugin. So it's not only usable for beacons, but for any Internet of Things application. The links you can see if I send you the link to the PowerPoint slides. Let's see how it looks like. First, the EvoThings Studio is just a very small window where the same principle is you can get a key, and after that then you can try to use the examples or to create an own application with it. The viewer, you have to download it from the App Store. It's free. It's called EvoThings Viewer. And this is here one example screenshot. There you have to enter the key which is generated here in the EvoThings Studio. And if you click connect, then your studio is connected with this viewer and you can try out your application. And this here is one example application to get the special data from the IBeacons. Okay, so far. Yes, I said that's this code you have to enter then in the viewer and then you are fine. Yeah, it's not only restricted to beacons, but there are lots of examples. For example, Philips Hue, I don't know if someone knows this already, this lamps which you can activate over the internet. Yeah, you see very much different things. The Eddystones, not only the beacons from SD mode, Arduino you can use, and many, many more things. Just have a look at these examples. It's growing every day. So now back to our application. We have this beacon there. This is transmitting its UUID every, I don't know, the interval, every second or what. Then our app is recognizing this UUID. At the beginning I told you cannot read every beacon transmitting its data, but these are all SD mode beacons and they are configured like standard, and so this app can read every standard SD mode UUIDs, and that's the reason why I can read all of them with my application. When it receives UUID, then it just sends via post request the URL to the web application. There's just a simple AJAX script receiving this post calls, and then I implemented a very, very simple message queue, just a text file where it receives all the post requests. And then here's our web application, and this is with an AJAX request reading the message queue and consuming it. And then the AJAX gives back the top of the message queue, and this URL is shown then there on the kiosk. Yeah, so our iOS app, we start with this part. I only show the source code of, to give an example how simple it is. So we have on device ready, I think everyone knows this, and then we see if we have an iOS device, this example is only working for iOS now, then we want to start the scan of the beacons, and every second we would like to display the top list I just show and the list on the bottom with the URLs. So what was it? The first call, display nearable list, is this here with the detailed data for each received beacon, and the other one is the top list with the names where you can enter the URLs. So the start scan function is very simple. There we can use this plugin, STMode Nearables, and just say start ranging for type, and we would like to start the STMode Nearables scanning. The nearables are these small things here. These ones, they only have a lifetime of approximately 1 year, and then you have to throw them away. You cannot change the battery. That's not very good. So you have to decide really if it is worth using them. The large ones are quite better. The battery can be replaced, and they should have a lifetime of about 3 years up to 7 years. It depends on the type. But I would suggest never to buy these ones, because this is waste after 1 year. You can just throw it away, but there's a battery included. You have to remove it somehow. So back to the source code. We would to get all nearables from STMode which are in range, and then we do something with the function on nearables ranged. This is a callback, and the question is, what do we do there? We get every nearables in that we ranged, and then we check if this is a valid RSSE code, so the distance is not invalid, and then we create a timestamp that we receive for our application that we just now recognized this one beacon. And the important thing is that we store all of them in this nearables dictionary with its key for further use then. So this is all being our application, not web application, but this one in the smartphone. So what is this then? We will use this later in the function where we display the nearable list, and there it's quite easy. We iterate the nearable dictionary with all of the beacons then, and then we check if the timestamp is not too old. And if this nearable is just moved, there we can use this attribute is moving. Then blah, 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 blah. We add the CSS class activate. In this app you see something with a red background when you move this beacon. And we send this URL to the web application. So interesting is this function update screen. Sorry, this is the part where we update the web application. So what is this? There's not much magic inside. We generate a data object where we transmit the URL, what was given in the user interface of the smartphone. The username I entered in the application, and the token of the application, so that my smartphone is communicating with my point of sale. And this we send with a post request to some address where our Ajax script waits for getting these messages. Very simple. So now we are going to the web application. This is a very basic PHP script. There I generate a random string for generating a new token, and I limit this to a maximum of 4 characters. Sorry. And this token we will use for the further program code. in the event loop where we ask which URL is to be shown next. And there we there we do the AJAX call for our application with the special token to get the new received URLs from the application. So then we have message queue server, a little script, which is getting the URLs from the smartphone via the post requests and stores them in a message queue. It's just a text file in this example, and delivers these URLs to the kiosk application. And this is also very simple. Here we are getting the post request and check if there's a URL inside. And if we received a URL, then we call the function push the beacon with the post request. And if not, this is the part for the request from our web application, which consumes this script and asks, is there another message for me to display another page? And this gets the token then and pops the beacons from our message queue. It's possible that it is getting more than one, so it's pop beacons and not pop beacon, and it displays then the last one. Yes, that's quite easy to remember what is in the post request. This is the code from our iOS app. This was the package here called data with the URL, the username, and the token, and that's all inside the post request. Okay. So this is just to give an overview what you can see of which kind of properties. I think it's not worth to go over all of them, but interesting is with these little things you can see which position it has, and immediately after you change it, if you drop it on its back or so, then you can receive the new position. I don't know the field, where is it? And you have something about the status of the battery and so on. Very much properties for a so small device. Yeah, use cases, not only things like I have done now. It is, of course, worth looking at point of sale. For example, if you present, like Apple, your new MacBook or so, then you could combine this with a beacon, and if you use it, then you can show on this on a large screen the new cool features of it, or for example, something like this. It is already used for museums and exhibitions. If you walk around and come near to some art, then you see information in your app describing the details of this exhibition stuff. That I said already. Very interesting is some use case for hotels. You can do something like automatic check-in. You only need to download the app, and if you enter the hotel lobby, you are automatically checked in. Don't have to say hello and please check my data. It's finished just when entering the hotel lobby. It's also used for guidance in large buildings, for example, airports or something. Go to flight number 47, especially because it can be updated just in time. So if the gate switches, then you can see this immediately and walk the other way. It's usable for indoor navigation. That's like the stuff for museum, and you have to be careful because they are not so very exact. You have much of problems with buildings, with metal in the room, and so it's not so easy to do proper indoor navigation, but it is possible. Yeah, and last but not least, some applications. If you lose something or forget something, then it can remember you or give you an alarm for your bicycle if someone takes it or something like this. Okay, and of course, new games, something similar to geocaching. If you like this, it's possible with this, finding some beacons. Yeah, okay, this is the thing of my part. If you like to contact me, you can come to our stand or ask me. I'm here. If you like to have a look at the demo, then you can go to GitHub. But be careful, it is just a prototype. There's no quality of code, something just to demonstrate how it works and as a starting point for, for having fun with it. Okay, do you have some questions?
No. Yeah, I've heard of Google's physical web.
Wait a minute.
I asked if you have heard of Google's physical web project with the beacons.
Yeah, I read a little bit, but I did not further investigate.
It's basically, as far as I have understood it, it is a beacon implementation in Chrome itself. And you can register your beacon by Google, and Chrome will recognize it. But I've never tried it, so I don't know how if it works. But that would be interesting because many people have Chrome installed.
Yeah, well, I don't know anything about this project in detail, but I heard one of the problems why the beacons are not did not grow the last years was because data security, because every beacon is transmitting its data without thank you, without encryption, and Google is doing something with this encryption so that only you can see your beacons, and maybe this is something with together with this Google projects, but I don't know this in detail. Okay, any further questions? No? No, then, yeah.
So if I end up implementing an application like the museum you presented, the application has to know every single UUID of every beacon that could possibly be involved in the whole museum. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but this is only a restriction in iOS, and it's only a restriction if you change the UUIDs. You have, for example, for SD mode online interface where you can enter your beacons you bought and then change the UUIDs. But then you have to tell your application that this UIDs should be used and should be ranged. And Android can arrange, I think, every beacon, but I didn't try it with Android now. I read this. Okay, any further questions? Well, then I thank you very much and goodbye.
Okay, next up we have a little coffee break, so a half an hour break, and we have fresh fruits and stuff downstairs instead of cake and stuff like we have usually, but this time we're very healthy, concerned about your health, so grab some vitamins.